Yeah, I like that meme too. But anyway, Gina Carano receives assistance from Elon Musk, files wrongful termination lawsuit against Disney and Lucasfilm over her Mandalorian firing. That's right. She says, quote, artists do not sign away our rights as American citizens when we enter into employment. Boy, howdy, isn't that true for this lady? This comes from Spencer Bakuli over at Bounding Into Comics. Gina Carano has officially announced that thanks to assistance provided by Elon Musk, she is now moving to sue both Disney and Lucasfilm over her abrupt and now infamous firing from The Mandalorian. That's right. The former Cara Dune actress first announced her intent to take the House of Mouse and its subsidiary studio to court on February 6th via a lengthy post made to her official Twitter account. We'll skip down here to the Twitter post itself. Today is an important day for me. I'm filing a lawsuit against Lucasfilm and Disney. After my 20 years of building a career from scratch and during the regime of former Disney CEO Bob Chapek, Lucasfilm made this statement on Twitter terminating me from The Mandalorian. Quote, Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. Nothing could be further from the truth. The truth is, I was being hunted down from everything I posted to every post I liked because I was not in line with the acceptable narrative at the time. My words were consistently twisted to demonize and dehumanize me as an alt-right wing extremist. It was a bullying smear campaign aimed at silencing, destroying, and making an example out of me. The thing is, I never even used aggressive language. I shared thought-provoking quotes, pictures, memes, and occasionally I used my own words, not with aggression, but with respect and the occasional comedy to keep the mood light in dark times. Look with your own eyes at what I posted and ask yourself, for example, where did I compare Republicans to the Jewish people in the Holocaust? I didn't. Ask yourself why they were calling me a racist. Was there any merit behind that or history of it whatsoever? No. Look at why I was called a transphobe. For making droid noises from Star Wars? Quote, Beep Bop Boop was obviously directed to the online bullies and did not in any way denigrate transgender people. Were my questions about masks, lockdown, and forced vaccines okay to ask and push the subject into the light? Should we have been allowed to publicly discuss those topics at the time without being harassed or censored? Absolutely. Hollywood says they support female representation and equal rights. Why then were my male co-stars permitted to speak without harassment and re-education courses or termination, but I was not afforded the same right to exercise my freedom of speech? Artists do not sign away our rights as American citizens when we enter into employment. I have spoken to all my co-stars since I was fired, and there is nothing but care and kind words between us. I respect their right to free speech, and I do not think the same, and I do not have to think the same on every issue to be their friends and work with them, and I know they feel the same way towards me. A couple months ago, Elon Musk tweeted that if you had been fired from using the platform X for exercising your right to free speech, he would like to offer these people legal representation. Quite the noble offer, but never in my wildest dreams would I have thought anyone would take on my case against Lucasfilm and Disney. Still, I did respond back, quote, I think I qualify, and thousands of people agreed, but I did not expect anything. I just want to take a minute and say, wow, that is a really big statement for her to make, right? Like, think about that. She's in Hollywood. They all think that they're demigods up there. But here comes Gina Carano, right? Down off of Olympus with Prometheus fire, if you will, saying, no, I bleed red like everybody else. If you choose to take on this court case, great. If not, so be it. That's really big coming from Tinseltown that think they own the world and can tell you and me how to vote. They can tell Gina how to think, how to identify herself, right? I got to tell you, I didn't expect that to be in this write-up, and there it is saying, I did not expect anything. You just don't see it out of Hollywood types, you know? It's just more example of why Gina's different than the rest of them. To my surprise, a few months ago, I received an email from a lawyer who had been hired by X to look into my story and many others. Turns out, after sending them as much information as I could gather these past few months, my now lawyers and X believe wholeheartedly in my case and are moving forward. I would like to express My deepest gratitude and thank you to Elon Musk and X for giving me an opportunity to bring my case to light. As for me, I would love to pick up where I left off and continue my journey of creating and participating in storytelling, which is my utmost passion and everything I worked so hard for. It has been difficult to move forward with the lies and labels stuck on me, backed and encouraged by the most powerful entertainment company in the world. I am grateful someone has come to my defense in such a powerful way, and I look forward to clearing my name. Thank you all thank you to all the people who have supported me and made your voices heard. I pray God blesses each and every one of you. With love, Gina Carano. And as you can see here, there's an email there to reach out for inquiries. If anybody has any questions about that, feel free to write that down or go to Gina's tweet itself and copy and paste it from there. If you have any questions for her about this, absolutely. Now, Spencer went and included some examples of what happened with Gina Carano. Now, he's isolated some quotes here. You've already heard her say this before. This is just a quote isolation paired with what she's talking about, so we get a clearer vision of what Gina's trying to express to us. And it says, look with your own eyes at what I posted, seen below, and ask yourself, for example, where did I compare the Republicans to Jewish people in the Holocaust? I didn't. Ask yourself why they were calling me a racist. Was there any merit behind that or history of it whatsoever? No. And we see right here, this is the infamous post that she made. I can't show the whole thing on YouTube because they're very sensitive about this imagery. We'll have to slide by it kind of quick, but it is a picture of a World War II scene, very dark scene. And Gina is comparing this sort of lockdown on people, this denial of human rights, of basic American rights, to what was done back then. Not Republicans, by the way, not Republicans. People in general around the world who were, like in China, they were welding people into their houses. Here in the USA, teachers, doctors, nurses, firemen, all being fired because they wouldn't take part in what was being mandated. I can't say it on YouTube. I'm sorry. They're really sensitive about that right now. But this is something that's been twisted to make people hate Gina. When she was just basically saying, hey, I don't like my rights being trampled on. I seem to remember how this went last time it was done. So we go on to quote another one here. It says, look at why I was called a transphobe. For making droid noises from Star Wars, the beep, bop, boop, as seen below, obviously was directed at online bullies and did not in any way denigrate transgender people. Here's the tweet right here. It says, they're mad because I won't put pronouns in my bio to show my support for trans lives. After months of harassing me in every way, I decided to put 3 very controversial words into my bio. Beep, bop, boop. I'm not against trans lives at all. They need to find less abusive representation. I don't see how that gets you fired. How does that get you fired? What did she do there? How are people going to perceive this as an attack on them and not people harassing her to get her to use the pronouns? It's ridiculous. Raising one final question, Carano asserted, quote, were my questions about masks, lockdown, and forced those okay to ask and push the subject into light? Should we have been able to publicly discuss those topics at the time without being harassed or censored? Absolutely. And this is her post about it. She's quote tweeting Rita Panahi. More insane police overreach in Melbourne. Guy put in handcuffs for being a few hundred meters from his home. Police say he has no valid reason to be there and wasn't wearing a face mask. He says he was getting lunch and having a cigarette. This is in Australia, mind you. But Gina decided to quote tweet this and say this. If they can arrest you for not wearing a mask and walking outside without permission, they can make up any reason to arrest you. How do these police officers live with implementing tyrannical rule over the people they have vowed to protect? They know it's wrong. Hashtag Free Australia. Now I ask you again, how does this land Gina Carano in hot water? She is quite obviously isolating an extreme incident and explaining that this is happening in another country. Why is Disney, an American-based company, deciding to take on this whole she's awful and evil, and she's upheaving the entire peacefulness of the United States? She's undoing the cultural fabric of our society. all these crazy things and death threats from the fans of Disney, by the way. Don't worry, that'll be coming out soon when we've collected all of those. There's a lot. There's a lot, especially after this, that they've decided to start hammering on her again about all the crazy ways they've got in store for her. I'm sorry, I'm on YouTube. I have to be careful with how I say this stuff. What do you think about this whole thing? I think it's great news. With Elon behind her, she actually has like a snowplow to just go right through the gates of Disney with. I really hope that she takes them for more than $75,000. I hope her lawyers convince her that she should be owed somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.5 billion, maybe 300 billion. Why not the GDP of the USA? Let's make sure that Disney burns to the ground and there's nothing left, not even a smoldering crater. We'll see you in the next video, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you can follow along with all the juicy court news that's going to come out of this.